I remember the night I woke up suddenly in the pitch dark, gasping for air like I had just been held underwater. My chest felt tight, my heart was racing against my ribs, and there was a sour burning sitting high in my throat. Gloria was sound asleep next to me, and I just sat on the edge of the mattress, waiting for my breathing to settle, feeling a cold sweat on my neck. When you are a man in your late 60s, as I was back then, you do not just brush off a racing heart in the middle of the night. You sit in the quiet and you wonder if this is the moment your luck finally runs out. For months I had been waking up exhausted, feeling a heavy pressure in my head, accepting it as the natural cost of getting older. Most people wait for a scare before they change. That night was my scare. I thought I was doing everything right during the day, but I had no idea that what I was doing for 8 hours every night was quietly putting my heart under siege. Today I want to tell you how I learned that the way we position our bodies in bed is not just about comfort. The hidden mechanical pressure that right side sleeping puts on your cardiovascular system, and the one physical adjustment that finally allowed my heart to actually rest while I slept. For decades, working in the public transit system, I understood that the real work happens after the buses return to the depot. The night shift is when the mechanics check the pressure lines, clear the filters, and repair the heavy wear and tear of the day. If a bus is parked on a steep incline all night, the fluids do not settle right, and the engine struggles to turn over the next morning. I thought sleep was just about closing my eyes and shutting off the engine. I did not realize that sleep is the heavy maintenance shift for the human body. Your heart rate is supposed to drop, your blood pressure is supposed to dip, and your system is supposed to clear out the friction. But if you position the machinery wrong, the maintenance cannot happen, and the engine works harder while you are asleep than when you are awake. The turning point for me was a conversation with Danielle, my daughter. She pointed out something so simple about human anatomy that I felt foolish for never thinking about it. Your heart is not perfectly centered in your chest. The bulk of the muscle sits slightly to the left side. It sounds like a small detail, but when you spend a third of your life horizontal, gravity becomes either your best mechanic or your worst enemy. When I used to sleep on my right side, my heart was forced to pump blood uphill against gravity. I was forcing an aging muscle to work overtime just to push the circulation through my body. When you shift to your left side, gravity works with the heart. You are carrying the same load, but you are walking downhill. A stable life builds a stable body, and taking that nightly mechanical resistance off my heart was the first step to getting my stamina back. But the strain on the engine was only half the problem. There is a massive main return line in the human body that carries all the blood from your legs and lower body back up to your heart. It runs straight up the right side of your spine. When I was sleeping on my right side, the sheer physical weight of my own internal organs was pressing down on that main line. I was effectively parking a heavy vehicle on top of a fire hose. The flow was not completely blocked, but it was restricted. That meant blood was moving slower, pooling in my legs, and forcing my heart to pump harder to pull that fluid back up. Slow-moving blood is exactly where the risk of dangerous clots begins. When I finally trained myself to roll over to my left side, I took the weight off that main return line. The circulation opened up, the pressure equalized. That same physical pressure was causing the gasping and the racing heart that terrified me that night in the dark. Down here in the South, we are used to heavy meals, and I had been fighting chronic heartburn for years. I thought it was just a digestive nuisance. I did not know that your stomach sits on the left side of your body. When you lie on your right side, the top of your stomach dips below the acid line, allowing that sour fluid to creep up into your chest. But that acid does not just burn your throat. It sits right next to the major nerve that regulates your heart rhythm. The acid irritates the nerve, and the nerve sends erratic signals to the heart, causing those terrifying palpitations and irregular beats. Simply shifting to my left side kept the stomach below the esophagus. Gravity kept the acid trapped where it belonged. The nighttime heart racing stopped entirely because I removed the friction that was causing it. There was another invisible layer of damage I was doing to myself, and this is the one that Marcus, my son, always worried about. We all know men our age who started losing their memory, getting foggy, losing the sharp edge of their mind. Danielle explained to me that the brain has its own nighttime cleaning crew, a system that flushes out the toxic proteins and sludge that build up during a long day of thinking and stressing. That cleaning crew does its best, most efficient work when you sleep on your side, and specifically on your left side because of the way the internal drainage pathways are aligned. I had been waking up with a heavy, clouded head because my brain was not draining the sludge. The inflammation was sitting in my vessels, slowly increasing my risk for a stroke. You do not want your first real warning to be an emergency. By changing my position, I was letting the maintenance crew clear the lines. I will be honest, changing a habit you have had for 60 years is not easy. Your body has a memory, and my body wanted to roll back to the right side or flat on my back every single night. I had to create a physical barrier. I took a firm pillow and wedged it tightly behind my back so I could not roll over in my sleep. I took another thick pillow and placed it right between my knees. That small adjustment kept my hips aligned and took the pressure off my lower back, making the left side feel like a natural cradle rather than a forced position. The first few nights were restless. I woke up frustrated, feeling out of place in my own bed. But I remembered the feeling of sitting on the edge of the mattress, gasping for air, and I kept the pillows exactly where they were. Within a couple of weeks, my body stopped fighting the new position. It adapted, and the changes were quiet but profound. The heavy ache in my legs in the morning started to fade because the blood was no longer pooling in my veins overnight. The sour burning in my throat disappeared. But the most important change was the deep, undeniable feeling of actual rest. I was no longer waking up feeling like I had just worked a double shift at the transit yard. My blood pressure was finally getting the overnight dip it desperately needed to repair the vessels. I still pay attention to what I eat, and I still keep an eye on my numbers. The work of taking care of yourself never really stops. But I am no longer sabotaging my own heart for 8 hours every night. I am sitting here today, watching the morning light come through the window, feeling my chest rise and fall with ease. The engine is running smoother, the lines are clear, and I am giving this body the best possible chance to keep carrying me forward.